film Threat, and I'm here talking with Donal Mac Intyre, the director of the film A Very British Gangster documentary that's playing here at Sundance. And Donal, if you could just tell us a little bit about the film.
Well, this is a film about a very charismatic, a very dangerous, and a very kind of extraordinary gangster figure. It's a guy who's gay, who's dangerous, who's a killer, but also is a kind of peaceman, he's an enforcer, community fixer. And he kind of, he's one of the most extraordinary figures I've ever met, and he runs this parallel justice system. Imagine John Gotti and place him in Manchester, make him gay, and have him running police stations. This guy was the main enforcer and drug dealer of the Hacienda, which is the big super club, the birthplace of House, and it was the drug dealing and violence of the Noonan clan, of which Dominic is now and was the head, that brought down the Hacienda. And of course, the film 24-Hour Party People, that's the depth of the history and life of the Hacienda, and the character called Dominic in that figure in that film. And but this is an access film with this guy, access all areas, and it's been a 3-year romp.
How did it even come about? Like, how did you come up that this is something that you wanted to pursue?
Well, you know, as I met Dominic Noonan in a courthouse in London, Britain's most secure criminal court for Al Qaeda kind of criminals, and he came up to me and said to me, my brother, who's a hitman, he said, my brother was offered a contract to whack you. I could see the job isn't done. And I came back and I said, well, you know, he's not very good then, is he? And my heritage is undercover, and so I'd be a significant hate figure for most of the criminals fraternity in the UK. So my undercover Donny Brasco TV work at 60 Minutes. But nonetheless, my work would also be the most popular stuff in some of Britain's prisons. So he would know me from that and would have a kind of relationship, because I'm in his TV in his prison cell or in his living room. And so we started this dialogue, and he was very vulnerable, facing 25 years in jail for a near certain conviction for drugs charges, $1.5 million heroin deal, or a bullet around the corner. And so you know, his life was chaotic. We started a conversation. I promised to reveal his world rather than expose it, and just tell his story. And 3 years later, we're here in Sundance.
Now, you were telling me earlier about this amazing story about what happened at the Q&A. Just if you could just kind of give me a full story about the entire Q&A, because it's a very unique experience, particularly for a documentary.
You know, this is unbelievable. You know, Sundance showed this extraordinary story. Last year, Harry Mean released from Deep Throat, a key character in that was found to be living in Park City as selling real estate. You know, and this year's Harry Mean story is that, you know, as a very British gangster, you know, centralising crime on the crime and the kind of crime lords of Manchester in kind of Middle England. It transpires by accident. We discover on Sunday night, you know, halfway through Sundance, that one of Dominic Noonan's, one of the crime lords, kind of lieutenants. Brian, are you heading back, by the way?
Your card, contact information.
Oh, no. I'll give you your email.
And that's basically what happened in Park City. A bunch of us just kind of run into each other and just start talking, and we'd be doing an interview. It's cool. So just to get back into it.
Yeah, back into it. So basically, you know, we've done this big gangland Manchester documentary for 3 years, and we come to Park City and we think the last thing we're ever going to see is anybody who resembles or has any heritage in Manchester gangland. And we discovered some guy by accident, you know, has a shop in Park City Mall, and he was one of the main associates of our key characters. This is a guy who kind of was involved in drug dealing and racketeering. You know, he was charged with attempted murder. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but he got off it. He says they obviously intimidated the witness and he changed his statement. And this guy called Mike, he comes from Park City. We bring him to the Q&A this morning. We say, hey, any of you guys could doubt the portrait we've made of this community and this gangster? Well, let me tell you, you know, we have this character. He's in the audience. He's one of the gangsters who ran with Dominic. And just say, you know, if any of you guys leave early from the viewing, you know, I won't be held responsible for what happens. We have the viewing. It was fantastic feedback. Fantastic feedback. And I answered my questions and invite Mike down to the floor to tell the story of his world with the Dominic with the Noonans. And, you know, an hour, we're going to keep that after an hour of Q&A, and this guy is being offered movie deals in the corridor. unbelievable. You know, they asking, you know, you can see the minds crackling for all the movie executives in there, you know, and they're all crackling with synopsis or kind of fizzing, and they're, I mean, you just know that a gangster movie, you know, these gay gangsters, you just know they're thinking Brokeback Mountain meets The Godfather, and hey, you know, the gangster falls in love with a policeman. This guy, it was just extraordinary serendipity. We're here with a documentary, we have no expectations, we're not hungry, we're not under pressure, we're not desperate, and all of a sudden, you know, somebody tangential to our entire production, basically gets offered a movie deal, and we're being offered remakes, and, you know, we've got Weinstein on the phone, we've got David Kelly on the other phone, and it's just gone ballistic, and it's like, you know, hey, we just came to shore dock, we're just grateful to be here. And it shows, you know, if you're too hungry, maybe you're not open to meeting, you know, extraordinary characters like our Mike. You know, it was quite possible that we could have been, you know, so in-depth conversation with some kind of movie mogul, so hungry and so desperate for a deal, that we wouldn't have time to go down and seek this guy out, and, you know, and the 3 or 4 floors down and say, hey man, amazing stuff, you know. And so, you know, he was more important and more significant at the Q&A than I was when I'm the director, you know. So it's a Sundance, and hey, crazy things happen.
Excellent.
So good.